To boxing now, and the war of words continued in Macau today as the two camps of boxers, Manny Pacquiao and Brandon Rios, lobbed comments at each other. Pacquiao is coming back into the ring after nearly a year out, and the coach of Brandon Rios says the Filipino is not the fighter he once was. However, Freddie Roach, Pacquiao's trainer, has dismissed the comments.
I don't think his opinion really counts. I think, I've been watching Manny. I watch my fighters carefully. I make sure that, that everything's 100%. If Manny showed any signs of slippage in training camp, I would be the first one to tell him it's time to quit. And it's not time yet, for sure. And I feel, I'm glad that, I hope they have confidence. I hope they're overconfident because Manny's going to destroy this guy. He knows that he has to be impressive in this fight. After coming off 2 losses, he knows that he has to be impressive. And being impressive is not winning a close decision. Being impressive is winning by knockout. He knows, he's not going to say it because he's a gentleman, but I will. And he knows that he needs to win in good fashion. And the best way to do that is by knocking guys out.
Well, Pacquiao will just have to prove himself in the ring. That's it for sports as well as on News Track. Many thanks for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Benyato. Hello and welcome to Business Incorporated. Thank you for joining us. I am Bolaji Akinwale. This week on the program, we examine the decision of the Monetary Policy Committee to retain the benchmark interest rate at 12%. What does this spell for the economy? We're examining the impact of that decision on the country later on the program. We'll also be speaking to Victor Ogwonyi. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Partnership Investment. But first, we'll take you through some of the headlines that made rounds during the week. The delay of the presentation of the 2014 budget by President Goodluck Jonathan tops the list. President Goodluck Jonathan on Tuesday postponed the presentation of the 2014 budget before a joint session of the National Assembly because of a disagreement between his team and lawmakers over plans to curb spending. Jonathan's decision to postpone the presentation of the budget is contained in a letter to Senate President David Mark and Speaker of the House of Representatives Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, dated November 18th, 2013. The President had requested the Senate to grant him the slot on November 19, 2013 to address a joint session of the two chambers. The President had requested the Senate to grant him the slot on November 19, 2013 to address a joint session of the two chambers. The President had requested the Senate to grant him the slot on November 19, 2013 to address a joint session of the two chambers.
Those against, please say nay.
The President cited the disparity in the benchmark agreed by the two chambers as reason for his inability to present the budget. It said the budget will be presented as soon as the Senate and House of Representatives harmonise the position on the medium-term expenditure framework.
The ayes have it.
The presidency said the delay in presenting the 2014 budget was to ensure strong intergovernmental harmony between the executive and the National Assembly and avoid the unnecessary acrimony that usually trailed budget passage. The presidency is said to be against carrying over bloated budget in 2014, following indications that lawmakers are seeking increased spending for the next year as Nigeria moves towards both presidential and parliamentary elections ahead of 2015. Patronize made in Nigeria products. That's the latest advice from the federal government. According to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, local patronage would make the evolution of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan a reality.
Major ideas behind this integrated master plan.
This was stated at the third Practical Nigerian Content Forum of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board conference in Bayelsa State. Local content had been given prominence in line with the transformation agenda of the President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. The ministry says it is working with industries to enhance the productivity and improve the quality of the product to significantly reduce the importation of substandard goods. The ministry also noted that it has redesigned and relaunched the Buy Naija, Create Jobs campaign to encourage local procurement of supplies, services and other requirements in order to increase local output and employment level. Nigeria has attracted investment of about 205 billion naira, that's an equivalent of $1.3 billion, into the retail sector in the last 2 years. According to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, the retail sector was a major driver of economic growth, job creation and wealth generation globally. It also stressed that Nigeria had great opportunities for existing and new investors. The ministry further stated that the retail sector is the glue that binds economic activities together by connecting the final consumers to products from the producers. The impact of retail in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized because anywhere in the world, it is a major driver of the economy. Globally, retail trade accounts for 27% of the world's GDP, which means we have about $19 trillion of retail sales each year. Retail also employs 17% of the global workforce, which is about 800 million people. In the United States alone, the ministry pointed out that 1 in every 10 person was working in the retail sector. Nigeria is regarded as a retailer's delight. With a population of 167 million people, the 7th largest in the world, consumers spending well in excess of $100 billion a year, and a fast-growing middle class. In addition, over 80 million Nigerians live in metropolitan areas, creating huge opportunities for formal retail to thrive.
A time comes in the life of every race when people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is at this threshold as major actors in the Africa arena plot a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, from the backstreets of Africa to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strive to sustain national interest and identity. Join us on Network Africa on Channels Television. Network Africa, a rallying point for the emergence